We here. We came. We saw. Hey, y'all, tap in, man. Young Elder, Rod Hayes, we in the building. Get them on, because like tomorrow, I won't be able to run my intro till after tomorrow. Cause I gotta go to the storage to get that little chip. I couldn't find my other chip, so I gotta go to the storage to download that intro back onto my computer. Cause I had to reset my computer. It's not on. It's not on no more. So
That's could cool, L. You
I
know,
could have
we
created
gotta do
another
whatever
one,
we gotta
but nah,
do it.
the original
We
is
good. Yeah, we can be raw with it. You know, we don't need no intro. People know who we is. They watching
yeah, we
us.
raw and uncut. We straight out. Yeah, we bite
So let me
right
give a
down
little
into it,
found
man. We
a
got
little
people in here right now.
let me give a little foundation while we waiting on the people to chime in.
Go ahead,
So
bro.
today what we're talking about is something called the genetic bottleneck. You hardly ever hear anybody discussing the genetic bottleneck. This is important because out of the genetic bottleneck comes the perception, your directional perception of reality, right? Your out of Africa theory is a side effect of the bottleneck. And if y'all pay attention, we're going to try to walk y'all through some of the fallacies and the historical timeline they gave us that doesn't make sense, right? So we know from being taught a Western education that history begins approximately 6,000 years ago. I got a question for you, El. How long was the devil given to rule?
6,000 years.
And Elijah said that his time was up, but he got what? An extension,
He'll
right?
have he'll have a little time after that, but it ain't gonna be long.
Right. Now,
Yeah.
the reason for the extension, cause in the time to close out the close of the age,
Mm-hmm.
we was waking up from the blood magic
Mm-hmm.
because it wasn't maintaining the conjure.
Mm-hmm.
Blood magic requires you to continuously spill blood in the form of an offering. If you go to your Old Testament of the Bible, you'll see that they used to smear blood on the altar.
Mm-hmm.
This is before and after sacrifice. They was
Mm-hmm.
always maintaining their conjures with the continuous offering of blood,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So they tell us that history begins 6,000 years ago. Nothing can be further from the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody
Right.
history started 6,000 years ago. Elijah Muhammad said they're the damn devil,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah, it started with somebody named Yaqub. Yaqub is Jacob in Hebrew,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's
Mm-hmm.
Jacob in Arabic, right? So we know Jacob means the underminer, the one who digs under a thing. This is what an underminer does. They dig under the root to replace
Mm-hmm.
the plant,
Right.
right? We
Go ahead.
know that they don't want us to know that we always been here because they are certain that they was here the whole time when they wasn't.
Right.
The bottleneck could show you, and then we're gonna bring y'all some receipts to show you artifacts that's been reported. Remember, me and y'all didn't write none of this stuff we gonna be reading.
Right.
I didn't write it and he didn't write it. We
Right.
just copied the writing from the historical narrative to go over the out of Africa theory and why are they using the out of Africa theory as a frame of reference, right? We're going to go over the origin of archaeology and anthropology in America, but we know that that started with Arab mystics back in the early
Mm-hmm.
um, centuries, right? 200, 300, 400 AD, right?
Mm-hmm.
Herodotus is given the credit with being the father of history. This can't be true because Herodotus was taught by priests from Kemet. All right. So all of the frame
Mm-hmm.
of reference of reality that we getting over here in the Americas is being delivered to us from Kemet through Europe filtered through European lenses and European science that didn't even begin over here until a little over 200 years ago. There was no archaeologists exhuming artifacts over here for the sake of finding out who we are, because they didn't never want us to know we all was always here. But our ancestors always leave us clues behind, and this is what we're gonna get into. So we're gonna start with a law professor explaining to you the fallacies of the theory of evolution. Now remember, theory means that it's an unproven hypothesis. Somebody came up with an idea and it's a theory. It's a hypothesis, right? They have to convert the hypothesis into a law, right? Like the law of physics, E equals MC squared, the law of relativity. If you go back to when the history has started being recorded, you're going to go back in Europe to Herodotus, but we have history in Kemet that's older than that, but we have history in America that's older than that. And this is some of the stuff we're going to go over. So we're going to lay the foundation with this first two clips.
Let's roll those beautiful bean footage. Roll that beautiful bean
Roll the
footage.
corn. Roll the corn. We know the truth now. Roll the corn. My brother, my brother.
Hey, we wrapping it up, man. And
you breaking up, L.
That's what you call wrapping it up, Rob.
Hey.
Which has never been observed. Number one, that life comes from non-life. We have not one single example of life coming from non-life. Number two, that all the life forms that we have today came from single cell life forms. Many people do not know that while we do have single cell life forms that we call bacteria, we have no 2-cell life forms. We don't have 3-cell life forms. We don't have 4-cell life forms. We don't even have 5-cell life form that you can go from single cell bacteria to complex life forms. So there's no evidence that all life comes from single cell life forms. The third postulate of evolution is that time and chance drive evolution forward, of course, and time works against evolution. The chance of one simple 100-unit protein coming together by accident this is a very big number. Time and chance make evolution absolutely impossible. The fourth postulate that evolution is based on is that what we see today, minor genetic variation in species, is evidence of macroevolution. So because cats are different colors, dogs are different sizes, that means that fish turned into cows. And of course, we know that that's not true because Mendel proved that all the genes that exist today, you can shuffle them around, but there are no new genes.
Okay. Well,
okay, so what he went over is those are the unproven aspects of the theory of evolution. That life comes from non-life. This is inanimate. Everything is living. Because everything is made of atoms. And everything being made of atoms. Excuse me.
Go ahead. Hey, y'all hit that like, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. We about to go in. Chief Poniac in the building at the Northgate. When we knock, you better bump straight. Hey, share it, like, send it out to your friends. Tell them we on with the Chief live right now.
Okay, now the non-life impossibility that traces back to cosmologies that predate Greco-Roman civilization and modern American science. We never believed that life came from non-life until we created something called European science. The European science was created as like a pseudoscience to give a background explanation to the history of the world from a Eurocentric perspective. Remember, everybody in the course of this 6,000-year rule of the devil had to have a chance to rule. The last ones that had the chance to be first is the paleface, the European nations, because before they was always referred to as the Lulu, the pets, right? They say our pets in reference to them. And the Dirty Moors still refer to paleface as our pets.
Right. They do.
right? So it's a reason for that. So because they wasn't supposed to um, graft humans, that's called the Great Debauchery. By them trying to conceal it, they created a condition where you had sentient beings that can't ascend.
Mhm.
They tried to conceal it by hiding, instead of euthanizing the defective gene pool, they tried to conceal it in what we call the Caucasus, right? But you got to remember, the original Caucasian had nappy hair and pale skin. This takes you to what Malachi wrote about in the tribes of Canaan, right? The royal families came from different planets to aid in the accelerated genetic development of the DNA. They call these missing links in their evolutionary theory. They don't have an explanation for it. It just jumped from this place to this place with no fossil record indicating that it should happen so suddenly. So they call it the missing link, right? So we know that the atoms move. We know that the atoms are fractals of light, and it's defined in the string theory. We know this. We know that the Higgs boson, that they call the God particle, right, is the tightest bound of the strings in string theory that gives us the appearance of what we call density, which gives matter its separating abilities. Instead of being part of the chair, you can sit on the chair now, because the density of your atomic structure and the amount of Higgs bosons in your atomic field separate you from the Higgs boson density, or it's the count per atom in a chair, because we can alter matter. And that's alchemy. It's ancient science called alchemy, where we alter atomic structure to produce objects. We also knew how to relax the density with vibration and frequency of the Higgs boson to make a thing almost appear weightless, though it might be tons, where it'll take 6 people to move a 60-ton stone compared to the amount of manpower it would weigh at the full 60 tons. It would take thousands. But if you neutralize the density of the Higgs boson, meaning if you can separate them by vibration, right, and you cause the Higgs boson to relax, it goes more into a flux capacity between 4th density and 3 density, or 3D, 4D. Now it's half mind matter and half physical matter, which carries about 1/10 of the weight. So that 60-ton stone might have been reduced to 6,000 pounds. And then you had tools, right, like Edward Leeskin used to build the Coral Castle. They call them cones. These cones, in turn, allows each person, like when you picking up somebody with your finger out of a chair. Take 6 people can pick a whole human being up just with one finger in the chair. The experiment is on YouTube. You can look it up, right? Whereas any one individual can't lift them. Well, the cones serve the same effect. This is when we're talking about building the pyramids. Lasers is not blue. Lasers is just condensed light, right? Now we're talking about Jed pillars. Today we call them Tesla coils, right? Free energy devices, because they're able to take mental energy and affect physical matter as if it was magic, but it's not magic, it's science, right? So the next guy we about to go over is also dealing with the 6,000 year historical narrative and the fallacy of it. Now watch this. Roll the corn, baby, roll the corn. You know the truth now.
Roll that beautiful beam footage. Hey, y'all hit that like, hit that subscribe button. This is You Gonna Learn Tonight. This night school. You gonna learn tonight. You know what I'm saying? We cracking heads, twisted caps, baby.
That's what we do. Dropping jewels.
The Council of Nicaea in that time period of history is when it was determined. Of history, Herodotus started. The Council of Nicaea in that time period of history is when ancient history was determined. The narrative of history, Herodotus started that, but it became woven into an accepted teaching through the Roman time period of how old is human civilization. When did it begin? That whole time period was established and what we've essentially been teaching for like 2,000 years. It doesn't make sense. Within the last couple of years, all the announcements out of White Sands, New Mexico, no earlier than 13,000 years ago. And that was how they got there because it was frozen and they walked over and got here, except that we have established now with science 26,000 years old. Our lens that we've been taught is that our civilization is 6,000 years old. It emerged in ancient Mesopotamia, and that nothing that existed before that was anything other than hunter-gatherers and then Neolithic humans. That's it. That's what we're told. Anything older than that. And yet we get places like Göbekli Tepe that are accurately dated with radiocarbon dating that are double that age.
Okay, now you notice he mentioned a place called White Sands, right? Because they have theory. So we was here. He's done. He's talking about this land. The next thing we got blood diversity. Now, when you look up a neck, what the number of breeding pairs of humans or what has reduced, right, to such a small degree that the slightest disaster would wipe out the whole genetic strain, right? So now we're going to read a little bit of the genetic bottleneck to try to give y'all understanding of what it is. So I'm going to read the first paragraph for each slide, Elder. I ain't going to read the whole thing.
Okay, all right. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Look. Let's work it. Hey, y'all, tap in, man. We the hottest in the game right now. I won't start right there with number one. I got some more stuff too. After you get through one of these, you see it, Rod?
It's gonna be right next to that video that we just watched. We just gonna read the right, yeah. Okay, we're gonna read that top paragraph. This is to show y'all that me and Elder ain't making this stuff up, that this is they science that they go by. They say the great genetic bottleneck refers to a period in early human history when the human population sharply decreased, potentially pushing our ancestors close to extinction. Now pay attention to the time frame. This event is estimated to have occurred between 930,000 and 813,000 years ago. So we're talking close to 1 million years ago. And it's during the early to middle Pleistocene transition. That's from the dinosaur age coming into the modern age. During this time, the breeding populations of humans is estimated to have dropped to around 1,280 individuals, a reduction of approximately 98.7%. Now, this is the aftermath of one of the pyramid wars, right? Based on this time frame. And this would have been a genetic extinction event that was caused by warfare. but they never tell us why that it happened, but they tell us that it happened. Right? Let's go to the next slide, Evan.
All right. What just happened? What just happened? All right, that's gotta be the next one. All right, right there.
Yeah. Well, the great genetic bottleneck in human history refers to a period of drastically reduced population size, significantly impacting the genetic diversity of subsequent human populations. While this bottleneck or series of bottlenecks, now they're telling you that it happened more than once when they say series, had a profound effect on the overall human gene pool. The link between it and evolution and distribution of blood types, particularly the ABO system, is more nuanced and ongoing area of study. Right? Now, let's go to the right there on the other side where it say impact the blood type frequencies, right? Now, it is plausible that as human populations underwent bottlenecks, see there's a plural, it's an S on the end of it, during their expansion out of Africa. You see this?
Right.
Right. The frequencies of different ABO blood types could have shifted. Now, that's a probability. It's an unsure. What does it say? It could have.
Right.
They don't know that this is what happened, but they're saying that it's possible that these blood types could have shifted in various ways due to random chance or genetic drift, right?
Yeah.
And selective pressures. For instance, certain blood types may have offered a survival advantage against prevalent disease and specific environments, leading to their increase in frequency in surviving populations. Now, we know in the ABO blood grouping that the O is the only blood that all blood, O negative is the only blood every blood type can receive.
Right.
Right. O positive is the only blood type that all of the positive blood types can receive.
Right.
And then when you go to A have to feed A, B have to feed B. And then you have what's called the AB group, which has to be AB, positive or negative, right? You can't put the negative to the positive because you a crossfire and it'll short out the system.
Right.
So O blood being a universal blood type is actually the blood type of the original Earthborn. Many people believe that it's extraterrestrial in origin, but everything on Earth, including the rocks that make up Earth as stardust, makes it all extraterrestrial, right? Well, because we coming from different vibrational frequencies that condense matter according to sonic wave patterns and fields. This is where you get your Fibonacci sequence. This is where you get your Metatron's cube and all of that, right? They say the AB and O blood types predate the great genetic bottleneck. So that means that somebody had already figured out how to diversify the blood before 1 million years ago. Now we know the primary contributing factors to blood types changing is diet, right? The diet that facilitates each mutation is actually a genetic response to an ancestral diet. That's why they wrote a book called Eat Right for Your Blood Type, because the ancestral diet is more compatible with the person according to blood type, based on what the prolonged diet was of a specific group of people over a prolonged period of time. Their body learns how to adjust and how to metabolize. And this is why you have to switch your blood type, because what's required in the blood to diversify, right, the blood by diet, you have to adopt certain characteristics and traits in the genome, right? So right here, say factors like natural selection, potentially linked to disease resistance, also play a significant role in shaping the geographic distribution of ABO blood groups. See what I'm saying? So it's saying potentially linked to disease resistance. So blood types prosper under key conditions for that blood type. This is why people that's supposed to be in the cold climate have a harder time in a hot climate and vice versa.
Right.
It is important to remember that the full story of blood type evolution and its relation to the great genetic bottleneck is still being unraveled. I mean, they don't know what the relationship is. It's they continuing to investigate it so that they can come later on and give us a comprehensive theory that may become established as a law of evolution or a law of genetics, right?
Hey, Rod. Quick question right here. Yeah, because when I started studying blood types, I started seeing that a lot of people that have straight hair, and it's not everybody, it's not the mulattoes, but like a lot of people that like the Hindus, they mostly got B blood type. And the people that saying that they natives, they mostly got B blood type. The people that say $5 guys, they mostly B blood type. So, you know, it's do you think that the hair texture plays a part with the blood type plays a part in the texture of the hair? And another question too is that, like, I hear some of these alchemical guys are like Yaki. I don't know if he ever said it, but I think I heard somebody say something about that corn was bad for us. But we've been eating corn for 9,000 years over here, and I like corn. Corn don't do me no. I ain't never got sick of it.
Corn is the ceremonial food of the tribes of Turtle Island. Always have been. It was created by our ancestors for us as a remembrance of the importance of carbon, specifically corn carbon. Remember, before we was reproducing by birth, we would used to replicate ourselves. Right? This when we were whole light beings and we would come into the physical form, and then we would use vibration and frequency to build a earth rover. And the reversing of that is called building your Merkaba. It's the opposite of taking on physical form from spiritual. It's taking when you build your Merkaba, you take your physical form into the spiritual by vibration and frequency. Right? What you talking about with hair texture, that's phenotype. It's more of how the climatic conditions compel the survival mechanism on the genome to respond to the environment. Right? And you got people with all blood groups, with all skin colors and hair textures.
That's right.
Right. So there's not just that the B blood type generates straight hair, it's that climatic conditions and your response to them, along with diet and lifestyle, it tells your body what's more conducive for the purposes of survival. This is why they saying the law of the jungle means the strong survive, where the dominant genome consumes the recessive genome over time. If you put too much recessive in the dominant, it'll slow the growth of the dominant down, but eventually the readmission of the dominant will overtake the recessive over time. It's the reversing of Yakub's theory, right?
And do you, Rod, before we go to the next one, do you think that because I heard you talk about this on the last tape about the blood type, certain blood types got to eat certain things. Now I did a research on it, and like O type, we mostly like omnivores, we can eat meat and vegetables, but like B is like B supposed to eat more meat than the other ones, right? Then A is more vegetables. So could you break some of that down, like on the blood types before we go to the next slide, like what they?
Well, we just went over how ancestral diet affects the manifesting expression of the blood types, the blood grouping, right? Diet and UV rays are the only two things known to cause spontaneous mutations in humans, right? So when you're looking at the genes expressed, the dominant trait expressed, so you can have what's called a recessive dominant trait. That means that in the phenotype, it'll be a dominant trait in the physical makeup of the person, but it's an overall genetically recessive trait compared to other traits on the genome, right? So when they say right here, major human population bottleneck occurred around 930 to 813,000 years ago, lasting approximately 117,000 years, according to genetic research. So they deriving this on a rate of mutation over time of the DNA, right? And the DNA is only altered by diet and UV radiation. The slowest transition is diet. The fastest is sudden changes that comes with the changing of or the upgrading of the genome by the UV radiation that comes from the sun. Right? The Earth then resets the genetic pool of all species on the planet. The ones that was found functional and useful for the next upcoming cycle will be upgraded. The ones who are useless for the upcoming cycle will go into an extinction. Right? This event drastically reduced the number of breeding individuals to an average of just 1,280, pushing humanity to the brink of extinction. That's pairs. 1,280 pairs. Now we know that a lot of the changes in the genome comes from the Y chromosome, giving different populations a different haplogroup on the father line that causes an accelerated expression of phenotype through the mother lines that's continuously having children by this bloodline of males. Right. So when we look up the bloodline of Genghis Khan, they tell us it's roughly 60% of the world's population bloodlines, Y chromosome traced back to Genghis Khan. Right. You got to remember, Genghis Khan had thousands of children and hundreds of thousands of grandchildren. And you also got to remember that while the Khans were ruling over there in Siberia, in China, wherever you want to call it, they were also at odds with people coming in, coming out of what we call today Iraq area, which was Assyria, Babylon back then, going through Turkey, where they became Turks. And as they were moving in, they became Byzantine kings when they were overtook by the darker skinned Arabs that came from the Middle East that we call Moors. Right. So this who the Khans was fighting. The Huns, on the other hand, which is a more easterly Asian set of tribal families, we talking like Attila the Hun. When we get to Attila the Hun, you will find in the research that they were having student exchange in peace treaties with Rome. Most of us don't know that at that time, Rome was ran by melanated individuals. But that take us to have to study Hannibal. Why was Hannibal and Hamilcar so hell-bent on overthrowing Rome? Right? And then you got to look at what happened to Hannibal. Rome had an infiltrator in the parliament of Carthage. Just like in that movie 300, the dude that was trying to bang the queen and sold her out, threw her under the bus because he took the money from the Persians. Right? The story is just retold under a different cultural norm in order to confuse us about what they telling us. Right? This is the character type becomes what's called an archetype, where you can see it played out in varying different forms across varying different storylines. So you got your quintessential trader that's in for selfish gain, right? Where you have your gold-hearted ruler that the people love and cherish in Leonidas going to defend his people with 200 or 300 of his close soldiers, his guard, his personal guard, right? So they fending off the Persians under Xerxes, right? Who is this? What you got to be paying attention to. Persia was Iran, south of Iraq. So the Persian armies is coming from Iran. They had already conquered the Indus Valley. Then they conquered the north, going into Turkey, and now they're trying to move into the Iberian Peninsula, aka Europe. But they're running into resistance by the Hellenistic Greeks and like Romans. But they using their toy soldiers. But the rulership is still the same. Heavily melanated people that came from the Persian Empire that is established in Rome, and heavily melanated people that came from Kemet that was established in Greece.
Right.
This is why we use Greek letters in sororities and fraternities, is because it ties back to the matriarchal rule of Helen. Helen is where you get your term hell from. She's also referred to in European mythology as Hela, right? But when you get to Rome, the god Helen in Rome is a man. That's called the beheading of a god. You give them the same name, but there's something fundamentally different about the description of him, right? Now, at the time, let's go to the next slide, Elder.
This is the next one right here.
Well, so right here. Okay, so this is important because now we get into why they want us to believe everybody came from Africa, right? It's an impact on migration. The bottleneck is believed to have coincided with a major diaspora from Africa into Eurasia. When they say Eurasia, they mean Europe and Asia as one giant continent, right? Suggesting that early humans encountered significant geographical barriers during this time. So now, the only geographical barriers that hampers is, here we go, obstacles like seas, mountains, and glaciers may have restricted migration routes and further fragmented the already dwindling population, right? But at some point, the humans is going to make a comeback, right?
Yeah.
So scroll down, let's see what the other parts say. See if I want to go over that. As the population slowly recovered and expanded, the limited genetic diversity of the surviving breeding pairs would have led to pronounced founder effects in newly formed groups. This means that genetic characteristics of these small founding groups became amplified in subsequent generations, contributing to the genetic differences observed between human populations. The European royal family called the Habsburgs is the ones who made them understand how prolonged inbreeding or breeding within one tribe without reaching out to anybody else produces what we call the Habsburg gene, right? Now, genetic diversity. This is important because now these particular groups are forming a genetic difference from each other by being prolonged in one location, continuously intermixing with their relatives. They say the prolonged period of minimal breeding individuals during the bottleneck is estimated to have caused loss of about 66% of genetic diversity, moving you from 100% down to 44%. Them numbers are significant. Let that be, don't forget that. The numbers is significant, profoundly shaping the human gene pool. So now this is explaining your genetic diversity that's not evolution, but amalgamation or sexual reproduction, right? The amount of genes that can be expressed in the phenotype in any haplogroup has a 66% genetic diversity appeal. That means that when you see it, that it's almost all the same diversified genetics. It's in the great genetic bottleneck had profound geographical implications for early human populations. It pushed our ancestors into specific regions where survival was possible, influenced their migration patterns, and shaped the genetic diversity of subsequent populations through founder effects. These historical events continue to influence the genetic landscape of human populations today, right? Now, they saying that the founder groups, so you notice they got 1,280 breeding pair. Each breeding pair that set up their own clan is the founding pair for that group, right? So now you begin, see, 1,280. Now you go to the book of Revelations where it tells you about the 144,000, because it tells you that they come, each one of the 144,000 can pick 10 people. That way 1,444,000 or 440, 1,444,000 when you add the numbers for the tens on there. Okay, now once this takes place, the 12 daughters of Isis, each one of them is picking a mate to populate the world in the 12 major regions. The 80 is added on because it's the open queen seat. The open queen seat means that these are the potential mates that don't have a mate. So you got 80 that lingers. So you got your 1,200 in groups of 10. That's 120 groups. And then you have your isolated 80, which is supposed to be going from group to group. They're supposed to mix the genetic diversity up using the 80 as the anchor, right? Now, in the genome, all of this is expressed for them to be able to do the research to tell you about the bottleneck, right? So let's go a little further because I want to get into why are they saying out of Africa, right? So recent genomic research indicates that a significant human population bottleneck occurred in Africa during the early to middle Pleistocene transition. And they go, you know, same years, approximately 900,000 to 813,000 years ago. During this period, this breeding population of our ancestors is estimated to have dwindled to around 1,280 individuals. Now, remember, the population of bottleneck occurred in Africa.
That's what they say.
But it don't. Now, at this time, 2,000 years ago, there is no study of the Americas yet. It's not included until about 200 years ago. And we're going to show you the father of anthropology and the father of archaeology in America. And you'll see that they've been studying people coming from out of Africa longer than they've been studying the history of the peoples out of the America, because they didn't get there to 1492. This severe reduction in the population side coincide with dramatic changes in climate, including longer and more intense glacial periods, leading to colder temperatures and arid conditions. That's called a nuclear winter, Elder.
Right.
These environmental pressures likely threaten the survival of early human populations, right?
Right.
So now they going through the story of how they coming up with the out of Africa theory. They say, while some evidence suggests humans were present in parts of Eurasia during this time frame, which meant there would have been a whole different haplogroup from the ones isolated in Africa.
Right.
Right. Such as the cranial fragments from Gombori in Ethiopia and fossil samples from Tignifa in Algeria, the main bottleneck appears to have been centered in Africa. Fossil records from sites like those in Spain show the existence of other hominin species like Homo antecessor during this period. However, Homo erectus found in East Asia during this time is unlikely to be connected to the lineage that led to modern humans. So they saying that it's very highly unlikely that Homo erectus have any genetic relationship to modern humans, right? Now you gotta remember, before erectus, you had the Neanderthal, right? So the Neanderthal couldn't have had nothing to do with modern humans either, because they was before the Great Bottleneck. So, so when they saying people are Neanderthals, that is a misnomer. The Neanderthal was wiped out before the paleface ever appeared, long before, thousands of years or millions of years before they appeared. The dramatic reduction in population size during this bottleneck could have a significant impact on human genetic diversity. Now, when you understand that they getting all of this from being overly exposed and saturated with only one perspective of the origin of man, and that's the outer Africa theory that's rooted in the Great Bottleneck philosophy that they gave us. Right. So this is where they coming with everybody came out of Africa. Now, they don't know about the people that was already here. This is their perspective on America. No, America was not populated between 930,000 and 813,000 years ago, right? So now, and from a scientific perspective, they're saying at the time that this Great Bottleneck was going on, America was just a forest. There was nobody here.
Right. Yeah, don't make sense though.
We're gonna show you some artifacts in a minute, right? They say while there is evidence of a severe bottleneck in human ancestor populations during the time, with only about 1,280 breeding individuals, this period is not associated with the initial peopling of the Americas. So they're telling you right there that this bottleneck and this reduced number had nothing to do with Americans when they was coming up with this philosophy. It was totally unrelated, separate, and had nothing to do with how long we was over here. It had only what to do with those isolated groups of genetic stock in Africa, right?
Same thing there, I think.
We going to the next slide, Elder.
Hold on, was it that one right there first? This one on this side?
No, the next one altogether. We're still dealing with the same bottleneck time. Okay, now the most mitochondrial Eve. Now, the reason why we bring up the mitochondrial Eve is because all of the women that's existing on Earth right now trace back to one woman, based on the passage of mitochondria. And it's no distinction of skin color, no distinction of hair texture. Your phenotype is irrelevant to your genotype when it comes to mitochondria. Mitochondria Eve is the name given to the most recent woman from whom all living humans today descend, traced through their mitochondrial DNA. This means that her DNA is the ancestor of all mitochondrial DNA in every living person. Now, as mitochondrial DNA is passed down exclusively from mothers to their offspring, right? She is estimated to have lived in Africa roughly 100,000 to 200,000 years ago. So that means that even the Great Bottleneck was before the diversity of the matrilineal ancestors. Mitochondrial Eve is the most recent common ancestor on the matrilineal line called the mother's line. This means she is the woman from whom all living beings, human beings today, are directly descended through their mothers and the mothers of those mothers, going back in an unbroken female lines. Now remember, they not chasing father lines, Because once you start tracing father lines, you get a whole nother haplogroup of genetic coded diversity, right? Let's go to the next slide.
On this side right here. Oh, hold on. On this side right here.
No, the whole next slide. Okay, now right here is based on a news article that was written, and this one is about shoe prints, not footprints. Because earlier when he was talking about that Sands Beach, he was talking about footprints, bare feet. Now this is shoes, right? So now this brings into level of culture, level of civilization, and the understanding of making of clothes, right? They say, so here's a wild discovery for you. Scientists stumbled upon a shoe print fossil that's about 500 million years old. Yeah, you heard that right. It totally threw people for a loop and sparked some big questions about our history, right? The bizarre print was found in a slate area and caught the attention of both locals and experts alike. It all started back in 1968 when William J. Meister, a guy collecting trilobites in Utah, found this unexpected print mixed in with some trilobite fossils. People were left scratching their heads when they realized it actually looked like a shoe print, right? Scroll down. The heel part of the print was a bit deeper than the rest, and they figured it must have been from a right foot since the heel showed some wear on the right side. In 1969, Dr. Clarence Combs, a geologist, Maurice Carlisle, and a geologist, Maurice Carlisle, let me reread that sentence. In 1969, Dr. Clarence Combs and geologist Maurice Carlisle came to check it out. And Carlisle even noticed a muck layer right around the same level, hinting that the print was resting on the surface ages ago. Right? Scroll up to the top of the other side, Elder.
Right there.
But here's the kicker. Most scientists waved off the finds, saying it was just a weird quirk of nature caused by erosion, totally dismissing the idea that it had any real meaning. There were also stuff like the petrified shoe sole discovered by John T. Reed in 1922, which faced a similar fate. Even though it looked a lot like a shoe print and the sediment dated back to the Triassic period, experts declared that it was, well, this is a picture of it right here.
It's right up. Yeah. They're like two shoe prints, right? Side by side.
Yeah. Yeah. But they're saying whoever it was, they favored their right foot. Let that sink in. Next slide, Elder.
All right. Yeah, they favor their right foot.
Okay, well, let's go back for 1 second. I want to go back how long ago that was in the first paragraph. It dates back 500 million years old. All right. Now, remember, they only been doing anthropology and archaeology for a couple hundred years in America, where they've been doing it for almost 2,000 years around the world outside of the Americas.
Right.
It don't start before 1492 like they have to tie the history narrative that they came with into the history of this land. Otherwise, they admit they ain't from here.
Right. That's right.
Okay, let's go to the next one.
They want to make from here.
This one artifact, this 500 million, actually is two, because one is a footprint and one is a shoe print. Right, this is the shoe print. All right, now, this is another one. Now, when you look these people up, if y'all want to cross-reference what we talk about, look up the names of the people that's given the reports of the research.
Right.
Follow that back until you can find the source document, meaning what did John Buchanan write in 1852? That's how you fact check this information. In 1852, John Buchanan presented a perplexing discovery to the Scottish Society of Antiquities, an iron implement resembling a drill bit unearthed from a coal seam over 2 meters beneath clay. Given the ancient formation period of coal, the findings suggest that the tool was over 1 million years old, challenging the prevailing history and the prevailing understanding of human history. Right? It said Buchanan expressed his astonishment, stating, "I quite agree in generally received geological view. The coal was formed long before man was introduced upon this planet. The puzzle is, how is this implement, confessedly of human hands, should have found its way into the coal seam, overlaid as the latter was by heavy masses of diluvian and boulders," right? Some skeptics propose the artifact may have been a remnant from previous mining activities. However, Buchanan's detailed observations noted no disturbances or breaks in the coal surrounding the tool, suggestion it was sealed within the seam since its formation. Next slide.
Damn.
The discovery captivated not only scientists, but also historians, archaeologists, and anthropologists, leading to the extensive debates about out-of-place artifacts. What do they mean by that, El? They mean, when they say out-of-place artifacts, that means stuff that they can't explain.
Right.
Why it's there. What we just went over with the shoe print, the footprint, the other footprint, now we going over with this drill bit. Right? It's and their implications on our understanding of ancient civilization. Robert Lindsay, a renowned architect overseeing the excavation, meticulously documented the find. So look up Robert Lindsay and try to find his writings on this artifact to find what the original reports was. Mm-hmm. His nephew and apprentice, Robert Lindsay Jr., was credited with the initial discovery, having found the drill bit encased in a solid block of coal approximately 3 meters or 3 miles, a little bit over 3 miles. It's more like 6 miles and something underground. Buchanan collected testimonies from 5 workers who witnessed the extraction, reinforcing his belief in the artifact's authenticity. So he's saying he got 5 eyewitnesses that worked on the excavation that gave a testimony about what they discovered. He advocated for further research to unravel the mystery of how such a tool could be embedded so deeply, potentially reshaping our understanding of human history. And there's the artifact right there in the coal. Right?
Man, like
so now we got, So now we got 5 million year old footprints in America. Now we got 1 million year old drill bit in the coal in America. All right, let's go to the next slide.
Yeah, they look like titanium.
Now, Thomas Jefferson, y'all remember him from your founding fathers' historical record, right? Check this out. Thomas Jefferson is widely considered the father of American archaeology. He was the first to conduct a methodical and scientific study of an archaeological site in the United States. In the 1780s, remember I told you it was barely over 200 years old.
Yeah.
He excavated a Native American burial mound near his home in Virginia, meticulously documenting his findings. What did he do? What did he excavate? A Native American mound. Jefferson's work on burial mound is significant because of his methodical approach. He didn't just collect artifacts. He carefully dug through the mud, analyzing its layers, stratigraphy, was they study of the stratas of sediment and documented his observations in detail, right? Scientific inquiry. He approached the excavation with a specific question in mind, the origin and construction of the mound. So in his attempt to answer the question about the origin of the mound is his primary catalyst for doing this research, and sought to answer it through systematic observation and analysis. That means by observing something using critical thinking. That's what it means.
Yeah.
Published findings. Jefferson documented his finding in his book, Notes on the State of Virginia, making his research accessible to others and contributing to the nascent field of archaeology.
Man, there were mounds in Virginia. They was all the way up there with it. I mean, I know they was all over, but you know, it just stepped it, man. They was all over. Those mounds was all over this place.
Okay. Now, the father of American anthropology is generally considered to be Franz Boas, right? Franz Boas is important because what they telling you is in the name, you not seeing it.
Yeah, he Freemason.
Yeah.
The Boas is the left pillow, left bump or something, right?
Boas was the family redeemer.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, but it's in masonry too, in it. That term.
Yeah. So according to Rutledge, he is recognized for his pioneering work in establishing the field of anthropology in the United States, particularly his emphasis on cultural relativism and his four-field approach. Boas, a German-American anthropologist, know where he originally from? Germany. He came to America, significantly shaped the discipline through his research, teaching, and leadership at institutions like American Museum of National History and Columbia University. He trained numerous influential anthropologists, including Margaret Mead and Ruth Benedict.
Benedict seemed like a pope, one of the popes.
Boas' contributions included cultural relativism. He advocated for understanding cultures on their own terms, challenging the ethnocentric views. When they say ethnocentric, they talking about the artificial caste system of the American government that's based on your skin color being responsible for your genetic superiority. So he was one of the first people who was challenging the science of heredity along with his four-field approach to research. He championed the integration of cultural anthropology, linguistic anthropology, that means studying the people's culture by their language patterns, physical anthropology, which is studying of the people by the diversity in their genotype, and archaeology within anthropology. That means studying of the artifacts that tell you about the culture of the people that the artifacts came from, right? This is a spark plug found in California. Can you scroll down to this? This alleged spark plug or metallic structure was found encased in a 500,000-year-old rock. So now we went from the original we was at 5 million years ago. Yep. Then we went to 1 million years ago, and now we at 500,000 years ago. Right? So all this stuff you can go look up. It's not hard to find this information. But what we're showing you is that the people of America been here so long, wasn't no here before we came. Right. And our fingerprints of our ancestors on the land, as you see here, date back at a minimum right now of 500,000 years ago to roughly about 5 million years ago, right? Next slide. Roll the corn, roll the corn.
Roll that. I know there are many imposters.
Oh, pause there for a second. I gotta give them I gotta give them the background for this. So this is Peter Tosh, who was the original member of the Wailers with Bob Marley. He's telling us the same thing Rod Hayes been saying when I say they look like us, but they ain't us. He's in front of a huge crowd at an event, and he referring to the people that look like us, that ain't us, as the agents of Lucifer and wolves in sheep clothing. These the ones that's giving us the out of Africa theory to separate us from the ancient history of the Americas, so we will never tell y'all that this is ours and we don't have to fight nobody. We just have to be aware of it. And when enough of us are aware, everything changes. Let's see what Peter got to say about does it look like us that ain't us.
I know there are many imposters. Look like I, favor I, walk like I, talk like I. Him read Bible 24 hours a day and him quote pure scripture, but learn say he is the agent of Lucifer. Wolves in sheep clothing, beware of thyself. These things cause I dignity and integrity to be abused by men.
So this was from 1982 concert. Right, that's what 33 years ago, Elder. 82, 92, 2002, 40 some years ago. Right now, this is the clip about Franz Boas that we was going over a few minutes ago, giving you a little more background on who he was and the research that he's doing over here. Now, remember, the American research is the newest research in their studies. Therefore, they have to twig it on to the research they was already doing and hold the narrative of the Outer Africa philosophy. Right? And once they hold that narrative, then they can tell you that they always was here when they wasn't. Because our Africa theories tell you that they wasn't always here because we was here before they came out of Africa. According to the artifacts.
I got evidence that we was over here before canon in the Bible. So how's it? You know what I'm saying? I know we was over here before and Adam and Eve. We was over here for Adam and Eve.
It was a separate ecumenical council that recognized the Abrahamic origin of the Christ story, which means the Old Testament version.
Yeah.
That's when they came up with an Old Testament. The New Testament was written in Greek, and the Old Testament was written in Hebrew, but it was adopted from cuneiform tablets and hieroglyphic writings in order to use your genetic memory to trap you in a scrambled egg, can't get your hand right track. Let's see what they tell us about Franz Boas.
Meet Franz Boas, the father of anthropology. To give you a short summary, anthropology is the study of linguistics, cultural aspects, physical biology of humans, and archaeology. So all those things combined equals up to what is today known as a holistic perspective of anthropology. Back in the day, scientists tried to use anthropology and other sciences in order to say that humans were not equal based on their human body measurements and other historical progress. However, that is obviously not the case. Franz Boas was a Jewish scientist who fought against those ideals and pointed out that body measurements and other things of that sort do not equal human inferiority.
So when they talk about body measurements, they talking about it's called biometrics. That's the science of the study of genetic, like how far is your elbow to your fingertip, your elbow to your shoulder, your torso, how long is it in relation to your legs, right? But here's another artifact we about to go into that's extremely old, and this one was found in Texas. Go ahead, Elder.
Mm-hmm.
The London hammer, unearthed in 1936 in London, Texas, is a mysterious artifact that challenges conventional beliefs about human history. Found in a Cretaceous rock formation dating to around 110 million years ago, the hammer consists of an iron head and wooden handle encased in a concretion, which sparked intense debate among scientists and enthusiasts. While some champion it as proof of advanced ancient civilizations, mainstream experts dismiss it as a modern anomaly. The London hammer continues to captivate imaginations and fuel speculation about our planet's mysterious past.
You know what I think, Rod? You know what I think based on everything? That's the last thing. You know what I think, Rod? Based on what we went over so far, on what I came up with, I believe. I think that we was advanced at some point, and then a disaster happened that reset us. We was already over here. Something happened like they say, and I think this happened before Genesis. Like when they say to replenish the earth, they said replenish, right? I'm thinking that whatever happened, we was already over here before that replenishing. You know what I'm saying? We was already over here, and that's why that hammer and all these other things was popping up over here prior to all these what they've been telling us. Let me stop this right here part so we can.
You on point, L.
Yeah.
Remember, they don't start studying mounds and artifacts over here to Thomas Jefferson.
Right.
So they narrative shatters when they try to tell us that we haven't always been here.
Right.
But I'm finna send you something.
I know. I based on what I have researched so far the last couple of days, I know we was over here before Cain and Adam and Eve. And the trials, and the only thing I'm puzzled about is I know for a fact that the Watusis, I don't know if they would call it at this time, but them particular species of the Twi, all them was over here before the flood. So I'm wondering I'm wondering because Doc saying the Holy Tablets, right? That when the flood happened, that these people went under the ground, and someone went behind waterfalls. I'm wondering then when they reset, did they come back on to where Africa is and settle in Africa? Or was they over here first, then settle in Africa after the flood? Because that would make more sense to me.
Okay. What I need you to do, I just text you a link.
Okay.
Right? I need you to go to that link and see if we can't play it.
Okay, I'm gonna have to get that. I'm gonna have to do it like this. It's gonna take me a little bit to get that hooked up for you, but I can get it up. Just give me a minute. You go ahead, just keep running. I'm gonna try to get that shipped over to my email real quick to download.
So when they doing all of the research, you got to remember, every time they found artifacts in the Americas, the Smithsonian seized them.
Yeah, that's right.
Who is the Smithsonian to give them the authority to see the artifacts exhumed from the Americas? Why are they doing it? Who sent them to do it? And do they have the power to confiscate archaeological finds, suppress the information from getting out to the public? Right? That also has to be exposed to the public. The Smithsonian's cover-ups. We know that the old Mississippians, some of them was 9 feet tall. We know this. Yeah. We got the body in Mississippi buried on family farms.
Yeah.
We have the oral record of some of our great grandmamas standing 7 and 8 feet tall. Right? So when they say it was giants, we was the giants. Right. But as the genetics upgrade, the size of the anatomy downgrades. Just like if you go look at a 57 Cadillac and then you look at a 2020 Cadillac, the size difference and the change in design is the upgrade. The size of the cars shrink for efficiency purposes. In science, we always call that searching for the equilibrium, or what we call the flux flow capacity, the ability to vibrate without losing energy the same amount of energy you consume is the same amount you put out, right? So now you is what they call at a static level, and this creates homeostasis in the body.
Mm-hmm.
So when we upgraded to genetics, we downgraded our sizes as a side effect of the upgrade. We don't have the bulky 12 strands DNA no more, but all of the information that was on the 12 strands is on the 2 strands. The problem is that it's a sizable portion of it that's been inactive. They call it junk DNA. Ain't nothing in your DNA that's junk. It's just unaccessed DNA. It's the DNA that you don't know taps you into higher realms of consciousness through your psychic faculties, right? This is where you get your prophets and your seers and your soothsayers from. They able to accelerate or balance out their energy exchange where they don't burn more than they consume. And as they go through the process, it opens the mind up to higher frequencies to download information from a higher frequency. It's like only having one station at 92.3, but as you change the frequency, you turn the dial all the way till you get to 107.5, right? So now you got frequencies between 93 and 107 that you can go through going from one to the other. That's different radio channels is how you could best understand it. Right.
Hey, Rod.
When we going through, yeah,
I got some, I'm downloading this, so I'm trying to get that for you. Hey, I got some more questions for you, man, because I like a lot of stuff been hitting me, man, since I've been looking more into this. You know, we was over here. So okay, so that we get the 200 fallen thing about them landing in. I found out it was California. Actually, they landed in Mount Hermon, and the Santa Cruz Mountain Range. And then I heard Doc say something else that these guys had brought the weed down, right? From Cyrus, right? And
that come from Canis. That's come from the Canis constellation,
right? Yeah, the Canis cannabis star constellation, right? Now this is the thing. Okay, so the fire stuff on the whole globe is found in California, and the original strands was Hindu Kush. So how is the 5 strand of Hindu Kush found in California and not in India? That's what I was trying to put together. But it started to make sense now about these 200 fallen who brought it down with them. Well, really, Inky them had it. I can show. Hold on. Matter of fact, while we on here, let's do this, bro. Let's do this while we got this. So, because people think I be just making stuff up. So I got receipts for by Inky them smoking weed and all it. Hold on, let me show you. Look, because everybody thinking this something new, that y'all doing something new. You ain't doing nothing new. These people was already. I got a tape coming out. Actually, it's still waiting to be approved by the people. By the YouTube. It's called, this is the tape right here. See, this all the pictures that came out the tape, but this is it's about it's called the Galactic Drug Trade. Hold on, this tape right here, probably like the tomorrow, one of the next days, whenever they approve it. It's already done, right? Right. But I just want to show you. That's the name.
Somebody in the comments asked,
already.
They
got what they call it, the Hoover, huh? The Hoover.
You had froze for a minute there.
This the Hoover.
Hookah pipe
right there, man. Yeah, the boys been doing the Hoover. They brought it here. Look at this. That's another plant. That's another,
tobacco leaf.
That's actually a weed. Yeah, that's another plant that they was.
It looked like a tobacco leaf to me.
Yeah, that's what it is. They was making medicine out of this. Okay, let me show you this. Okay, this right here is a methamphetamines setup right here. The boys will make, they call it serpentine fire. Look, when the tape come out on the you gonna hear all of the receipts. So you won't think they already were cooking all this stuff up, man. The boy was cooking it up already. Right? And they was giving it to the workers in the mines so they can work all night and all day. Okay. Huh? Yeah. Look, they crack dealing aliens. Man, look, I got the tape. Why the tape go straight crack? They crack dealing. You see the thumbnail? Crack dealing aliens. Right? These people was already doing like the opium, inking them already had already.
That's opiates right there. Yeah, that's right. Opiates right there.
Yeah. So
look at their eyes. They wired, ain't they?
Yeah,
look at their eyes, Elder. They wired, ain't they?
The boy Zooty, right? The boy wired up, man. That's what they try to tell you.
They used to say in Chicago, they say, look, he geeking. His eyes big as the headlights on the pimp car.
Yeah. Right? The boy's tweaking, man.
I think that's is that corn?
Nah, it look like opium.
Nope, that's opium. Yeah, opium.
Yeah.
Opium like poppies, yeah.
Yeah. So
the funny thing about the funny thing about the opium popping up is and after the Gulf War, America guarded and protected the opiate fields of Afghanistan to enrich the farmers. And guess where they were selling the heroin at?
Well,
over here.
Wow. Yeah, it was.
Look where they're selling the heroin at.
Look,
but they also use the opiates to make your pain medications.
That's right.
Your Percocets, your hydrocodone, oxycodone. That's all made out. Those are opioids. That mean they made out of opium. Big Pharma got to get them from somewhere.
Yeah. So
they came up with the Nazi drug that they using right there. That is what they call them, Quaaludes.
Yep.
Methamphetamines.
Yep. That's right.
Yeah.
And Hitler gave it to his military to try to. That's how he was. It was like one of his methods. He was hoping to win the war. And then the Polish, anybody that they was fighting against, they pumped crack into their community before they attacked them. Hitler pumped crack into the community. Man, look, when you hear this,
it was probably cocaine, but it was crack. They discovered crack at UCLA in the late 60s.
My brother. Hey, look, I got receipts, right? Hitler and them came out with the formula for crack in 1930 something, right?
Oh, they was making crystal meth.
They was making crystal meth and cooking crack cocaine. I'm telling you, man.
You know what? I can't say they wasn't because the Nazi sciences Operation Paperclip brought a lot of sciences from Germany that we didn't have over here.
Look, they were calling it freebase, and they had brought it over here in the Project Paperclip. Yeah, that's how they got it. Look, and then they ran a test on it in the 1969. I got the monkey trials. Look, this AI tape break down all of what you saying, bro. Everything you just said about the monkey trials, about how Hitler got the formula from Ashtar Command, and how they Hitler and them used it on Poland first during the war. They used crack cocaine. They want to cover all this up, man. I hope they don't shadow ban me for saying all this on this tape. But I'm telling you, man, Hitler and them was already cooking crack over there in 1930s and 40s over there for the and they like the AI break it down. They said that I'm
gonna have to check that one out.
Matter of fact, they get a good name. Yeah, it's called Werewolf. Look up the Werewolf. Look up the secret order called a Werewolf in Germany. That's the order that was cooking the cracks, using it and putting it in Poland and putting it in other spots before Hitler and them invaded. And then Hitler and them would give crack to the soldiers so that they would fight all night, and then they be fiending for a hit. They'll fight and do anything that Hitler and them said just to get a hit. I'm telling you, man. When AI, I can't wait till they approve this tape.
We do know. Yeah, we do know that Hitler and them was using all kind of drugs to try to make super soldiers. We know that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, I'm thinking about crack as the common name, and I'm not thinking about it as when it. Yeah, because freebasing preceded crack.
Yeah,
They've been freebase was only certain people knew how to cook the cocaine to freebase it. So the person that learned how to cook it was able to smoke for free.
yeah, right. And they
It's the
say,
same
man,
with us turning soft to hard.
man, they said Hitler, the man. Look, I got so much, and then look, I had loaded the first one. I loaded up. They told me I couldn't load that one up because it talk about how Hitler was smoking number 50s. Hitler smoked number 50s, man. Hitler wasn't smoking nothing but 50s. Look, yeah, I'm telling you, look, man. I'm telling you, it's a man. Look, man, I swear to God, Rod, when we get off, I'm gonna send you the link to these werewolf dudes. The werewolf people that was part of the Hitler's clan. They say he became the richest dude in Germany. He became the richest dude in Germany off selling crack back in the 30s and 40s, man. I say,
look,
like, man, crazy. Huh?
Here's the irony in them calling it a werewolf.
Yeah, the werewolf.
Okay, remember I told you we werewolves, they suck blood.
Yeah, right.
Where does the cocaine plant, the coca plant, they get cocaine from? Where do it grow?
Now, okay, over here.
Right. So they over there looking like us.
That makes sense.
To do. I'm gonna have to check that out though. You put me up on game, man.
A lot of the pharmacy drugs that they are using, they in Germany, the scientists was already experimenting with the Coke and the Coca-Cola drink. They used to put a certain amount of grams in the cocaine in the Coca-Cola drinks. They was already
everybody know cocaine had Coca-Cola had cocaine in it that's why it was called Coca-Cola.
Right. Yeah. So if you go, like, if you study I got a whole like a pamphlet on these werewolf guys and how they was doing manufacturing freebase, selling it, then they found out they could use it as a weapon, and then it goes into how 1945, like you said, that's when it came over here, but nobody really it really wasn't no thing until they did the monkey trials in UCLA. When they did the monkey trials, and then they say, oh, we can use this. 1981, Reagan era, boom, they put it on us. It was like a nuclear time bomb, man. We ain't never see it coming. Because some people used to smoke weed, and they wanted to get something heavier. So it's like, try this out. They didn't even know what it was. And then they saw Coke, but they hit it, and man, that was it. It was a new type of thing. Ashtar Command.
Go
ahead.
When you go back to the 70s, you got to remember there's something called crystal THC, right? Then they had that China White, right? Mexican mud, right? Then you had some the pills, the reds and the blues. They call them T-shirts and blue jeans, uppers and downers, right? Quaaludes, methamphetamines, right? So they was pushing that, but it wasn't having the traumatic effect on the community until the UCLA did that monkey study with the crack cocaine. Then they realized by isolating the active ingredients and condensing them, it makes it an uncontrollable addiction.
Yeah. Crack.
Right. Yeah. So then the name crack, because they didn't call it crack out here. They used to call it freebase first.
Yeah.
Right. So matter of fact, even in Cali, when you go back to Boys in the Hood with Eazy-E, remember what he said? My boy JD.
On freebase.
The boy JD was a friend of mine until I caught him in my car trying to steal my Alpine.
Yeah.
Right. The name crack was introduced to the world, I think it was in 60 Minutes.
Yeah.
Media propaganda.
With Bush, George W. Bush.
Because Bush had, now remember, Bush got rid of the running mate that out of Michigan, I think his name Monahan, was supposed to be selected as Ronald Reagan's vice president. But George Herbert Walker found a way to get into the White House to become president. That's why they tried to kill Ronald Reagan, Nanfrentine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at a picture of John Hinckley Jr., who shot Reagan, and put a picture of him side by side with Jeb Bush, you can't mistake them from nothing but brothers. They damn near look like twins.
Right. His illegitimate child.
The guy that they used was right. That was the bastard son of the old man. Mm-hmm. So he trying to keep the circle tight enough for the lid not to spill the beans.
Mm-hmm. But he also
right. Did the other video come up yet?
Huh? He spilled the beans at his funeral.
Did the other video come up yet?
Oh yeah, I got it. Hold on. Let me play it for you. Hold on.
So the setup for this next video is oral tradition of the people is older than written tradition. Right? And this sister discovered some of the African oral tradition that turns the out of Africa theory upside down, and it's older than written documented history.
All right, we're gonna roll it right now. Yeah, I can't wait till y'all see that crack Billy Elliott tape, man. It's about 25 minutes long. Huh?
Yeah, I can't wait for it to drop myself, Elder, because you tied up
that's based on proof, man.
Yeah, you tied up a few things for me on there.
What you say, Rod?
You tied up.
I'm telling you, man, that werewolf, the werewolf was cooking crack.
I forgot all about.
Hitler was hitting.
I forgot all about space when we talk about crack.
Yeah, they didn't call it crack over there.
Roll the corn, guys. Roll the corn.
Another name for it. Okay, yeah, here we go.
Okay, so truthfully, when was you Africans gonna tell us that your oral history, your oral traditions, was that your ancestors came across the great ocean? When was y'all gonna tell us that? When was you gonna tell us that your ancestors came from the West? When was y'all gonna tell us that? Huh? You Rubens, the Ghanaians, the Akan, the Benins, west of Africa, period, has oral history and teachings about their ancestors coming from somewhere else and settling in Africa. Why y'all wasn't gonna tell us this? Right. Because that's crazy. It's the reason why we never followed you. You followed us. We the ancestors.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now y'all know I went on ChatGPT because, honey, I need to find the answers. Honey, all West African traditions speaks about their people, their ancestors coming across the great ocean. What?
I'm like her shit. What?
It says that these Africans settled in Africa. They don't come from Africa though. Like the Africans themselves? That's crazy. It's crazy.
Hey, you know what, Rod? That makes sense about what she's saying, because the Sands people say they only get their time back 10,000 years in the spot they in Africa. And if the bottleneck theory is right, they would have to be over here for 1,000 years before they went over there. They only said they could date their time back 10,000 years in South Africa. So that would mean they had to come from over here. And that would make sense. Like I just said, they had to be over here before the flood. And the flood landed them over there. They was over here.
You got to remember when you go back to the Anunnaki.
That flood.
You got to remember when you go back to the Anunnaki story of Utnapishtim, the flood wasn't global, it was regional.
Yeah.
The part of the Christian dogma that made it become a global flood was the whole known world at the time. They didn't know nothing about us over here, so we didn't have nothing to do with the flood.
Yeah, this the thing.
They didn't know nothing about us.
Yeah, but we got proof that the Garden of Eden was over here. We got too much evidence proving the Garden of Eden right in Florida. So
right. That's why do you think the oral tradition? Why do you think the oral tradition of the West Coast Africans? Remember, I told you we called ourselves the Amur Inca, and we called them the Afar Inca.
Yeah.
Because it was our ancestors that went afar, far away.
Man,
but they were still our people. Inca.
It's all coming to me now, man.
We already went over this. We went over this like hit it from like 10 different angles, the same information. Remember, Inky is the one who was given the fatherland genetics to the major African tribes. Over here, Tahuti was the male that was given the genetic Y chromosome to the American tribes, right? And it wasn't until Enlil came, he took over and gave us the Hindus. And then when he took control of the earth for 6,000 years, he relegated Anu children, the Ainu in Japan, the Golden Dragon clan. He isolated them to Japan. He took the power from Inky children in the Indus Valley, not the Indus Valley, in Hindustan. He made them his children become the Aryan, and he relegated Inky's children to become the Dravidian or the untouchable or the outcast with the dark skin. And they got nappy hair and they got straight hair. Those was Inky children, the darker ones. The lighter ones at the top are the Vedic caste system that they call Aryans. This is how they understood how to use skin color for a caste system. Mm-hmm. Then when you get to Africa, not until you run into the ones that was leaving Persia, that was an admixture of the Aryans. So there was Enlil children mixing with Inky children, which was forbidden. Mm-hmm. They did it anyway, but this gave you your Chaldeans, your modern day Chaldeans. Is the descendants, hybrid descendants of Inky children and Enlil children. Today we just call them all Arabs, right? But Arab just means wanderer. Mm-hmm. Why would you be a wanderer if you're from the planet? You would have a home. So when we're looking at the narrative, you got to see whose projection. They told us that South was dark and North was up, and it's exactly the opposite. Mm-hmm. They told us East was West and West was East.
That's right.
And that's why the sun rises in the West, right? And that's what the Masonic, it's a Masonic thing to say that the sun rises in the West, but the star rises in the East. Talking about the star that's rising from the West, the Americas, the sun, the chosen one, is going to point to you the star that rose in the East, Venus, the divine feminine, the grand matriarch, the Black Madonna, right? What's the word Madonna mean? It means daughter of the mother, literally, right? Donna means young lady, Ma means mother, right? So the sun that rises in the West is supposed to identify the star that rose in the East, right? And what the hell? The neighbors was a car alarm going off. You mute this for a second, Elder.
Hey, something else that I found interesting, Roy, while you got muted. It's a tribe called the Chippewa tribe up around the Mississippi, not the Mississippi, up around the Great Lake area. They got a storyline about a great flood happening, and that they built that somebody taught them how to build. Some god came and taught them how to build canoes, and they got the same storyline as the Noah storyline, but they ain't never read the Bible. These guys, and do you remember me saying?
Do you remember me saying that all of these floods is from opening up ancient aqueducts?
Yeah.
On the last video we did, that's what we're talking about. Because you periodically terraform the planet as the sentient dominant species on the planet. You're gonna terraform it to feed people or to reduce population or whatever it might be. Right, but you're going to be constantly changing the geography. When the colonizers came, they discovered access to it. That's how they was able to flood our cities out and create mud floods. Right, you limit the amount of water in order to make it more muddy. It'll pick up more sediment or soot or dirt and carry that down, and it'll get thicker. But when you lose more, the water becomes the dominant characteristic, and the mud becomes murky water. Now, if you go back and look at these floods, that water's not clear. If it was rainwater causing the flood, it'd be pretty close to clear. So it's not rainwater. The water is coming from both the rain, but it's also coming from under the ground, ancient aqueducts. They've actually found ancient aqueducts in various places around the world that they tell us about, but the ones over here, they don't talk about because it's the newer discoveries. Everything over here is proven to be older than stuff from Africa, but the reality is those of Smithsonian is covering it up. We're going to always believe that everything in Africa is older than what's over here. But their oral tradition testified to our older position on the planet.
And they didn't come with the Smithsonian Institute to about, I'm thinking they cooked all this whole game plan up about around the same time the Louisiana Purchase, because they couldn't have had this game plan before then. They had to come up with the slave narrative, all that real fast. I don't believe they came up to the slave narrative to 1865 during the Civil War. During that time, they came out with, we got to tell them they slaves, and that we brought them over here. They had to sell us that game. But I'm like that sister that said on the video, why the Africans ain't never come over here and tell why the ones that be over here that know that's an oral tradition, why they ain't never say, hey, y'all, everybody come from over here. And then if they would have told me at a certain point, I wouldn't have believed it. I would have believed it anyway. You know what I'm saying? But now, now with all the stuff I got, they would have told me like way back 10 years ago, everybody came over here, I would have said, yeah, that sound pretty good. You know what I'm saying? And right. I know we was the first people everywhere. So, you know what I'm saying? But now, man, with the evidence that we got now, with the stuff you gave today and the stuff that I already got about the 200 fallen landing over here, about the all the mounds, the oldest mummy. I mean, you can't get around it, man. It's too much evidence at this point. I mean, I'm just waiting to see what they're gonna say now. Yeah. And they gonna see if they still gonna say, because it's people that still come on comments saying y'all just want to be from everywhere first. We are from everywhere first. I mean, show us one place we ain't been at first. Like Doc said, they went to the moon and found out Negroes was already there, man. You can't go to nowhere we ain't went. They try to dig underground, found out Negroes was already living underground. They call them the knockers with big old heads. You know what I'm saying? Hey, they try to go over to Venus. Negroes was already on Venus, man. They thinking, man, how these Negroes get on Venus already? We've been on Venus millions of years already. So it's like this part.
Listen,
yeah, go ahead.
I just heard in the comments somebody said we don't come from Lucy. You're right. Lucy was not a human. Lucy was a primate called proconsul. That means that she predated Neanderthal, she predated Homo erectus, predated Homo sapien, and she predated Homo sapiens sapien. So Lucy has nothing to do with us over here, but we have our own equivalent to Lucy over here. One of the oldest females exhumed was exhumed over here. That's actually a modern day Homo sapien, right? So we got the oldest living Y chromosome they recently discovered doing this genetic pool testing. They find the oldest Y chromosome traced to a brother over here. So if you got the oldest modern human over here and the oldest modern male over here, and a female and a male, then you understand how we were already here before any of them came. But they came like wolves in sheep's clothing to pass themselves off as us, right? But we wolves in wolf clothing. So we can spot the imposter in the pack of the wolves, the pack of the sheep, because he don't vibrate like a sheep. You always start mischief and bloodshed everywhere you go. Elijah told us how to track him.
Right.
Everywhere you go, he start mischief and bloodshed. Right. And he come between two peaceful groups of people. We always been peaceful. Right. We've been on that 50 Cent wave for eons.
Right.
Ask me, do I want a problem? They ask me if I want a problem. I don't want a problem. I don't never want a problem. But when they say they want a problem, we say no problem. Now we the problem.
No problem. You want to buy it? Hey, it's like this, bro. I think what happens is what the Bible coming in and giving us that beginning story about the Adam and Eve thing and the misdirection thing, because the Adam and Eve story really start over here, but that's not the beginning of us. That's not the beginning of us. That's like Adam and Eve, because Doc break that down too. They were from 2-3 different tribes. They're coming together, and them tribes was already over here. They was already over here. So man, like this, like what they gonna do now? They gonna come out and say, all right, we lied for so long, man. They ain't, these suckers ain't gonna apologize. They ain't gonna say, oh yeah, we sorry, because this is war. This was a form of war. This was a conjure. Their job was to rock us asleep. So now that we woke now, the deal was once we wake up, they supposed to run our stuff back, because they was only supposed to be trustees until the children woke up. So that's the deal. Oral tradition, they already they listen to us. They listen to us. They watch our tapes more than we watch them. You know what I'm saying? These guys, I'm telling you.
I wouldn't be surprised they ain't studying them in university, because they looking at stuff from a different perspective. When they look at this, is what make it more difficult for our people to believe what we're saying, because they're telling us the narrative from a Euro-centered perspective, Euro-centric worldview. Europe being the center of the world. Look at your map. They're going to show you, according to them, Europe is the center, but Europe not the center, right? So Europe is above the 33rd parallel. 33rd parallel cut right across the equator, right? A little bit above the equator. The equator is the middle of the world, right? Going east to west. No, going north to south. The prime meridian is the center of the world, going from east to west, right? So when you're talking about four corners, you cut prime meridian, that's from down the middle from top to bottom. Then you cutting from east to west, you cutting at the equator, you know what I'm saying, across there, and that cuts your earth into 4 quarters, right? It's just four pieces pie. Inanna, Enki, Enlil, and Tahuti. These are the ones responsible to settle the conflict, right? Tahuti is not the eldest of Enki, but he's the first heir to Enki's earth, Enki's seat on earth, the what they call the seat in Ki, the Lord Ki, the Lord of the earth, the prime mate, right? He's the key to the earth, is held by the father, but the father know that the womb of the earth is held by the mother, and that the womb of the earth, you got to have the earth key in order to unlock the gate, in order to let mama back in her house, because it had to be put in a warlock. Close the coffers until the war is over. Y'all gonna use something called fiat in the medium. Soon as you figure out what's going on, you'll know, because the currency gonna collapse. Why is the currency gonna collapse? Because fiat is an unsustainable currency. It's gonna eat itself up over time, because it's not based on anything. It's just monopoly money, right? So when we showing people a different perspective, we challenging the old paradigm. The reason you got to challenge every paradigm at the close of the age, so you can determine truth from falsehood, and then you can move forward on the truth, and you can leave the falsehood in the books, right? I like to say, use the lie for a shield, but cut with the truth. You know. So all these things that's going on right now with what we call the world stage. It's not called the world stage haphazardly. All of the epithets that you hear in reference to Earth, or reference to this land or that land, is telling you secrets about that land, or about the planet Earth. The epithets. You get enough epithets, now you have a full descriptive analysis of what's taking place in real time based on the epithets given. right? America, God's crucible, the great melting pot, where one drop makes you one of us, right? That's Inky. And he's explaining to Tahuti the principle of genetic cleanup, right? He said the only way to clean up the genetic that we messed up is to return a drop of the genetics of the gods, right? So you go to Billy Carson, Billy said that the different species of Anunnaki was branding their product, they avatar humans with their physiological features, right? This is what he's talking about. He's talking about the different royal families that had delegations on Nibiru, like the Flugerod, like the Dewanis, right? Like the Nakiel, the Teros, the Deros. They all came to give a drop of blood to rectify the genetic deficiencies in the artificially produced hominid that was denied ascension rights. Because as soon as he get ready to ascend, his neural network shut down. Boom, he got to go back. He gets slapped back to factory reset for real. He need to come in another body, but he can't go nowhere else. You can't keep Earth in a perpetual infinity. Somebody had to flip us out of this infinity loop, the figure 8, right? So you remember it was 1280. 12 is the 12 daughters of Isis. 80 is the Empress seat, or the Isis seat, the Queen Mother seat, right? 88 is when she's seated. So they telling us in the codes, but they're not telling us in direct. It's not direct. It's not straightforward. It's concealed. It's in your face. It's hidden in plain sight. But because they tell you where to look, you only look where they tell you to look. You can never see an alternate or alternative angle or perspective to view the totality of what's taking place.
Right.
So you stuck in only seeing the narrative that your oppressor view. Now, when we come along and we challenge that paradigm in a cognitive distance, the shame click in at the same time to make them reject the fact that you waking them up from their comfortable slumber as a servant. They don't want to be a servant, but they didn't want you to tell them they was one. They wanted to figure it out on their own, but they were stuck in the rut. They couldn't figure it out. So you come along, you cajole them alone. They don't like you no more because you woke them up from their slumber. But now that they woke, they got to go wake somebody else up because they can't just live with it on their own. Once you expose the truth, once you expose a different paradigm, you challenge the old narratives. And if you know that they told us history was written by the victors, that means whoever was winning all the wars was writing the war stories. Right. And the ones who was winning all the love was telling the love stories. So we love stories, date stories. Now we want to turn our war story into a love story. We had to go in and fight the war in the name of love. Right? Once we go in and fight the war in the name of love, love conquers all, meaning the master strategist in love. Every man is a great woman. If he can't find love, he can't find his way out of the conundrum. Because love is the shining lights that guides you through the dark. Right? It's the illumination of the golden heart to walk you through the days of darkness. The days of darkness, dark night of the soul. It's the struggle to discover who you is and to teach other people that you can be more than what they told you could be if you stop believing everything they told you and start challenging every paradigm. Everybody not supposed to agree. Everybody not supposed to get along. Soon as they tell you that, they got you in a trap. Soon as you take a side, they got you in your trap. You got to be mature enough to say, we disagree, but I understand where you're coming from. I just don't hold your viewpoint. But I reserve the right when new information comes to change my mind. Right? You can't make me change my mind if your information doesn't outweigh merit of the information I already have. So when we challenge in that paradigm from that perspective, it begins to jar the consciousness. You can't stay in the slumber in the presence of the truth. You forced to wake up whether you want to or not. And if you string enough truth together, right, then it has the effect of what's called encoded light wave frequency. The encoded frequency is the light language that Malachi taught all Nubians to speak, even though most of them didn't know that while he was breaking down all of this Masonic stuff, all this Shriner stuff, all this Egyptian order stuff, all this Holy Tabernacle Church stuff, Church of Christ, all of this Ansarullah Islamic stuff, all this Amanubi Rakta Hebrew Israelite stuff. While he breaking all that down, he's showing you step by step how to see through this narrative in order to come back around and say, hey, don't listen to them. They lying to you, and this is where they lying to you at. Right. You have a lot of people that's so comfortable in their lie that as soon as you tell them the truth, you they sworn life enemy, it's stuff a lot.
Right.
I didn't know I had a staph infection, but I guess you do.
Hey, y'all, if you're new to the channel, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. The brother Rod Hayes don't do it for donations, and then he really just bring this to you because we're trying to really get this over with. We tired of fighting these suckers. You know, hey, we've been fighting them for a long time. And look, I know Rod like it too because, hey, man, look, I was on the front line fighting them like this. And then my shoulder was hyped up like this. And then Rod came, and I said, I can relax a little bit. Because Rod took a lot of weight off my shoulders, man. I thought I was by myself fighting these suckers. And then when I ran into Rod, man, Rod gave me the dagger, man. Rod gave me the golden dagger, man. To really go straight. Where Rod say there they go right there, man, that's what I'm used to in the hood. See, I'm used to somebody saying there they go right there.
What fool Modi say? Want me to get him? Well, I got him. My mouth is a Uzi. And I shot him with the hundreds of lions and hundreds of rams.
Yeah, there they go, man.
You know, L, a lot of people feelings get hurt that the truth don't come from the vessel that they was looking for it to come through.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Mm-hmm. You can't put new wine in the old wine skins because it's gonna cause a problem as it ferments. Right. The old wine skin can't hold the new wine. So when the elders came and they all gave a piece, Gerald Massey, Ivan Van Sertima, Sheikh Anta Diop, Malachi, Tommy Clark, Dr. Ed, the list is endless.
Right.
Your Prince Hall, Muhammad, your Clarence 13 Next, your Yahweh Ben Yahweh, your Ben Ami. All of these different individuals is giving uses from they are what they can see. Because when you can take all of their pieces and then you can put together a clearer puzzle by coloring in the details. Now your picture is no longer bland, black and white. It got color to it. That means it's been brought to technicolor, in living color, live and in color, in your back, straight up, no chasing. Notice the agent B and notice the principal. Everything done in the public domain. And
dang, Rod phone must went dead. I think Rod phone went dead, y'all. Well, I won't be able to take it, try to get back on. And but hey, y'all, stay tuned, man. We got some hot stuff coming out. Right? Hold on, we'll give Rod time to get back on. I think he's gonna come back on. Make sure his phone ain't went dead. Hey, y'all, hit that subscribe, hit that like button. And like I said, I got that crack dealing alien tape coming out. That's gonna be a good one, right? And it's really based on true information, because the main drug that's being sold galactically, well, at least in our area, is adrenaline. And I already did a whole tape called Nanar and the Drug Operation on the Dark Side of the Moon. So the God of your Bible was already smoking dope. Don't try to be our holy roller and say, young elder, man, he doing this, or he, because you soft and you a crybaby. Your God of your Bible was getting high. You ain't doing nothing new. They invented getting high. God invented getting high. You don't think so? I'm telling you, man. Now, do we think that you should go out and do it just because inking them and Enlil them? Well, Enlil did smoke. I know this for sure. A new smoke, Enlil smoke. But I mean, not Enlil. I mean Inky. Enlil don't smoke. Enlil don't smoke or drink. Inky drank. He smoke. A new don't drink, but he smoke. Yeah, so these people are just like y'all. See, I think when people say, "Oh, the alien thing" and all this, these people, they go raw right there. All right, here we go, Rod. What else you got, Rod? We about to go ahead and close it out, though. I thought your phone had went dead. These people, I said these Anunnakis, they humans. They ain't people under the impression like they some like some ghosts or magical type people. No, they some humans with advanced technology. If I was to give you their technology, you'd be just as bad as them right now. They take a dump just like you take a dump. They got to breathe air on their ship. They need air on their ship to stay alive. Like oxygen, and what they breathe actually be a combination of high octane. It's like a mixture of it's like oxygen, but it's like hydrogen really, but it's like a form of a gaseous water. It's like, huh?
It's like ozone, a double oxygen molecule.
Yeah. It's kind of like pretty much. That's exactly what it is, Rod. That's what it is.
So
It's like a ozone layer.
Yeah. So when they say separated the waters above from the waters below, that's what they're talking about. Because the only time we get close to ozone is during the low pressure center, and it's still not enough for us to breathe that rich O2, that double oxygen molecule that makes up ozone. Right. Well, we don't need it no more. The body adjusted after the reset. And now we can function on the one molecule oxygen, right? Exhaling the carbon monoxide. You know, so anybody come here, you have to take on a human form. No mythical creatures was allowed during this 6,000 year reign. It don't mean they don't exist. It just means that the parameters of the 6,000 years conflict between the righteous and the wicked, God and the devil, so to speak. This is what gave us our rules, the new system. Now we go into fifth dimension where you will be able to recognize, oh, she was a fairy. He was a gnome. He was a gargoyle, right? He was a Bigfoot. You will see the human, but you will also see a remnant of the mythical creature peering through the face that's looking at you in another human, right? And the 5D is the awakening to be able to see that. It's like a lot of reptilians, you can't see them because they look too human. But as your eyes become open, you start seeing they serpent-like twitches as they walk around as a human, right? Pretending to be human. I told them a long time ago, everything on earth that say they human, not human.
Right.
And everything on earth that look real ain't real. You got a whole bunch of NPCs. And they're not NPCs because they don't have access to tap their higher consciousness. They become NPCs because they follow the program that the system gave them and disregard tuning in to their higher self.
Interesting. All right, Rob, I'm about to get up out here because I need to go get me something to snack on, man. Because I ain't really ate nothing all day.
We on the same page, yeah.
Yeah, I ain't really ate nothing
I
all day.
I hope this class was lit tonight.
Huh?
I hope this class was lit tonight. If y'all like the information, let me see.
And hey, look, man, everyone we drop this.
Let me see some. If y'all like what we went over today, let's see some feathers and
drop them feathers
and fire. Feathers and fire in the comments. Feathers and fire, baby. Feathers and fire.
Oh, any updates on Larry Hoover? The process on that. You heard anything on that?
It's gonna be on the news soon. Right now, no news is good news.
Yeah, I ain't heard no news neither, really. Besides, yeah, I ain't heard no news on that. And then Doc, I haven't heard no updates about Doc. So yeah. So other than that, man, we about to get up out of here. We about to take it on take him to the bridge. Like James Brown said, can I take him to the bridge? Hey, take him to the bridge, man. Huh?
Mateo.
Take him to the bridge. No, James Brown changed the game. James Brown changed the game when he changed the rhythm of the music to the one to the hit. He hit me on the 3, hit me on the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. He changed the sound by sped it up. Dun, 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 dun. Like James Brown is an innovator, man. It's only rare people come like that. James Brown, to me, Bryson Tiller, huh?
You remember I say the Brown clans is some of the biggest clans, one of the biggest clans on the land. He was a chief.
Yeah.
He embraced his indigenous heritage.
Yeah, he looked just like the
He's the only one. Look,
Mm-hmm.
Smokey Robinson is a Hyoka high priest. Cicely Tyson is an Iroquois high priestess. Little Richard is Chief Screaming Hawk. Right. The list goes on and on. I can keep naming these people.
We might have to come back
Jackie
on something like that. Come back on people that don't know that they reincarnate, because you can find statues of these people that's thousands of years old that look just like them. How is that happening? Like Lil Wayne, all these guys, baby. Yeah. Like,
everything is cycles. Because everything is cycles. Yeah. Look, I keep telling y'all, this ain't our first time doing this.
Yeah.
This ain't our first time doing this. Every 26,000 years, we got to write a new history. Right? So we got a 2,000-year buffer zone where we changed paradigm to go into the new age. The last 2,000 year of the 26,000-year cycle is to come up with new paradigms and new paradigms to challenge in order to inspire people to think from different perspectives, not just one perspective, and use that to generate a holographic projection inside your head of the reality you in, so you can break the paradigm that's false. Right? So that's what we've been working on, and that's what we've been doing. And all of them people that we talked about, they are instrumental in their own way. Everybody had a part to play. Nobody was, even the one that you think is the alcoholic behind the liquor store, he a pauper guy. He don't want to participate in the shenanigans no more. He'd rather go sleep behind the grocery store than put up with the BS. Right? You know, because when you talk to them, they don't talk like everybody trapped in the paradigm.
Right.
Right. I've been talking to bums since I was little. What did Rick James say in Ghetto Life? When I was a young boy, growing up in the ghetto, playing tag with winos, only way to have some fun. Right? He was playing tag with winos. And think about what he's saying. He was playing with the pauper guys.
Yeah.
They was giving him the game. And then he say, in the question, he said, I met this little cute chick. The pigtails to her shoulders. She said her name was Nancy. She couldn't have been much older. Taught me what I had to know. That's that love connection.
Yeah.
Because the old winos telling him, if you can't find love, you can't find success.
Right.
It's in the culture. It's weaved in the culture. You can't get it out the culture. Shaka Khan, Pam Grier, all of them is native. All of them. Right? It's a lot of them I just don't even name because I can sit here and do this for a prolonged period of time.
Right.
The Jacksons. Whether you take Joe Jackson, the fatherland, or whether you take the motherland, what was Catherine Jackson land? They native on both sides of the family.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don King know he native.
Yeah.
He just a feisty native.
This is at this point. I don't know Like it's like, man, that I ain't expecting for them to come out and tell us at this point. We know now. Like, so it's like, you know, I look at everybody different. I look at the invaders and the colonizers different. I don't hate them. I just look at them like, and it like you like, especially the ones that think they better than us. The colonizers that think they better than us. I look at them like, man, you really like on the low, like you really low to the ground. Like I'm like King Jofi Jara, and you like an ant, really. Like, so don't be out here tripping like y'all all lit. You like the colonizers are the ones that call themselves still want to be racist or whatever. You know.
Well, yeah, them people that's trying to hold on to the old paradigm. But believe it or not, it's more pale faces that ride with us than we can possibly imagine.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah. I know that. Yeah. All right, Rod, man.
Don't take us home, man.
Hey, man. Like we always do, man. We send divine love throughout the boundless universe to all. We ask that to protect all of our divine political prisoners that been, you know, it's still war pretty much. You know, they prisoners of war, right? So, hey, y'all, we send love and peace to everybody, to all the mothers on the land, all the little children on the land. Peace and love. We out. One love. Why do?